Here are the reasons to why your curly hair routine isn't working, why your hair isn't lasting, and why it does not look good. Um, the number one rule for styling curly hair, if you are a beginner, is you need to be styling your hair on, you need to be putting products on soaking wet hair. Always style your hair with product when it is soaking wet. Your hair cannot be damp, it needs to be soaking wet, or else your hair is not going to absorb much of the product. It's not going to spread evenly throughout your hair, creating frizz, and you're not going to get much out of the product if it's not applied to soaking wet hair. Your hair isn't getting as moisturized as it would if it was applied to soaking wet hair. And number two, you are not clarifying your scalp. I can tell 100% that you are not clarifying. I know you are not clarifying your hair with a clarifying, purifying shampoo. If you are using a lot of styling products like mousses, gels, creams, if you are using a lot of products to style your waves, curls, coils, you need to be clarifying your hair with a clarifying, purifying shampoo at least once a month. At least once a month. Or else you're going to get buildup. Your hair is going to look dry, damaged, and there's going to be tons and tons of frizz. When I first started my curl journey, I would do everything. I would style my hair wet, I would section, I would use a brush, I would do everything to make my hair not frizzy. But at the end of the day, it would always look dry, frizzy, it would be brittle, it would look damaged. But that was because I was not clarifying, and because of that, I was getting a lot of product buildup. If you are noticing your hair is looking very dry, if it's looking very brittle and damaged, and it has tons and tons of frizz, if your hair is very hard, if it's hard to move, if you are noticing flakes, those are signs of product buildup. Okay, you need to be purifying your scalp at least once a month. At least once a month. I like to clarify every few weeks. So every 3 weeks, I will clarify my scalp. It's really important that you are not over clarifying, because clarifying your hair with a clarifying shampoo too often can also be very damaging. So at least once a month, twice a month, but not more than every 2 weeks. Not more than every 2 weeks, because then you are overusing it and you can strip your hair and you can actually damage it if you overuse it. Number three, you are not using a gel. Gel is the biggest styler for curly hair. It's going to help with hold, it's going to help with frizz, it's going to help your hair last longer, and it locks in the moisture. So gel is the most important product. And if you are not using a gel, your hair is going to be undefined, it's going to be frizzy, it's going to get matted and tangled way quicker, and it's just not going to look that great if you're not using gel. It's really important that you use a medium to strong hold gel so your hair can last. For finer, thinner hair, gels can be pretty thick. So if you have a lighter curl pattern, waves, if your hair is very thin and fine, I recommend leaving the gel and just go for a foam or mousse instead. Mousses do have a hole to it, so if gels are not working for you, then I recommend using a mousse or foam. Number 4, you are using too much or too little product. If you are using too much product and you are not applying those products to soaking wet hair, your hair is going to be weighed down. And if you are putting too much product by your roots, your hair is going to be oily and it's going to get greasy very, very quickly. It's going to be flat, it's going to be weighed down. So avoid putting too much products on your roots except for gel. Gel is the only product and mousse that you can put on your scalp. Try avoid putting cream on your scalp to avoid your hair being weighed down and it getting oily quick. Using too little product as well. If you are not spreading the product throughout your hair, it's going to get frizzy. If you are not using a brush to spread the product, or again, if it's not applied on soaking wet hair, it's going to be frizzy. Okay, when you apply the products to soaking wet hair, it spreads the product. So all your hair gets the product and it doesn't get frizzy. So you need to be spreading the product with the brush, and it needs to be soaking wet when you are applying the products. If your hair is very fine and thin and it gets very, very weighed down, instead of using creams can be very, very thick. Instead of using creams, I recommend using a spray and a mousse instead of 2 creams and 2 gels. Use lighter products like conditioning sprays, mousses, foams. If your hair is very thin and fine, and if it's more on the wavier side than the curlier side, I recommend using lighter products. Number 5, you are overcomplicating your routine. You do not need 500 products to style your hair. The biggest mistake that I made when beginning my routine and learning to style my hair was that I would follow a lot of people on social media. I learned everything from TikTok, and I would follow so many other people's routines, and I would see so many times that they would use 6 products, 7 products. They would use a spray, they would use 2 creams, they would use 2 gels, and then they would use a mousse and a foam and a hairspray, and then they would use just way too many products. And if you're first starting, don't overcomplicate your routine, please. Products are expensive. Don't waste them. Don't get all these products and then get super overwhelmed, not knowing how to use them, and then you just pile it on your hair and then your hair turns out bad. Please don't overcomplicate your routine. It's gonna overwhelm you. The only thing that your hair needs, the only thing that your curly hair needs is hydration and hold. Okay? If you want your hair to last longer, if you want your hair to keep in that moisture, if you want your hair to be less frizzy and to have more definition, you need to be using a gel or foam, mousse foam, very, very similar, but you need to be using a product for hold that is a hairspray, a gel, a foam, a mousse. Those are the products that add hold to your hair. You do not need to use all of those. If you have a lighter curl pattern, I recommend using a foam. I've said that. If your hair is curly, you need to be using a gel, okay? Gels lock in moisture, it helps with frizz, and your hair is going to last longer. The only thing that your hair needs is hydration. and hold. So that is using any product that adds moisture to your hair. If that is a spray, if that's a conditioning spray, a cream, a leave-in conditioner, you only need 2 products. I only use 2 products. I use a product for hydration and I use a product for hold. You do not need a mousse, a foam, hairspray. Again, all these products are based off your needs and your wants. Okay, it's not a need really, but the more that you style your hair and the more that you get into it more, you will eventually learn what you don't like and what you do like. And that's why you have options. Okay, if you don't want to use a gel and your hair is very fine and thin, there's a mousse. If you don't like creams, there's a spray. But you don't need 5 creams and 2 gels. Okay, you don't need 500 products to style your hair. You only need a product that gives you hydration. Okay, curls need hydration. Curly hair is very, very dry, and if it's dry, it's frizzy, so it needs something that'll give it that hydration. Okay, so it needs a product that will hydrate it and that will give it hold and that will lock in that moisture to help with frizz and to help it last longer. Number 6, I've mentioned this, you are using products that are too thick. You are using products that are too thick. You are using too many products, which is making your hair look bad. Sometimes less is better. Less complicated routines are sometimes better. It is easier, it is quicker. Using light products is always good and important. Okay, don't use products that will weigh your hair down. Don't use too many products. If creams that are too thick weigh your hair down, use a spray. Again, style your hair soaking wet because that is going to help spread the product so it won't weigh your hair down as much. That's why it's really bad when you style your hair damp, because then the products just sit there and it weighs your hair down. Number 7, you are not styling in sections. Okay, it is really important that you are applying your products, especially your holding products like gel. It's important that you are styling your hair in sections, especially if your hair is long. If you have a lot of hair, it is really important that you are applying those products in sections. It's going to help your hair, all of your hair, get product. It's going to help your hair last longer, and it's going to help with frizz. For the longest time, I would be scrunching the gel in instead of applying it soaking wet in sections. And I had the big issue of having defined areas and then having areas that were just frizz. I noticed that my hair wouldn't last as long. My hair, again, would be frizzy in some sections and then super defined in other parts. So it's really important that you are styling in sections to make sure that all your hair is getting even amounts of product. You need to be styling in sections or else your hair won't last. This is for people that have thicker hair. If your hair is on the finer side, I do still recommend styling in sections, but it won't be as a big of a problem for finer hair types. Number 8, you are not brush styling. I found I had the biggest results from brush styling. I got the best results from brush styling. Brush styling is using a brush to style your curls, to define them. I have this one, it's not very complicated. It has these ridges, so when you brush through your hair, oh my god, when you brush through your hair, you create little sections, so your hair goes through these grooves that create little sections, and then those little sections, they get defined in ringlets like that. So brush styling helps define your hair, okay? It helps it last longer. You get many different kinds of brushes to brush style your hair. A very popular one is the Denman brush and the bounce curl brush. I just have this one that I got online and it works amazingly. I got the best results from brush styling. Before brush styling, my hair would only last 2 days. Now my hair can go 4 days looking good instead of 2 days looking good. It's less frizzy, it's more defined. And again, also if you're brush styling, you're styling it in sections. So that really helps. Brush styling really, really helps. Number 9, you are not hydrating your curls. Like I said earlier on in the video, curly hair needs hydration, it needs moisture. So you need to be at least once a week be using a hair mask, a deep conditioner, or any hydration moisture treatment. Okay, curly hair is very dry and it needs a lot of hydration. The main cause of frizz is the lack of moisture in your curls. So if your hair isn't getting the moisture that it needs, it goes out trying to look for it in the air, and that causes frizz. So you need to be hydrating your hair. Pretend you are not diffusing. You are not diffusing. I, for the longest time, used to air dry my hair. Now, there's nothing wrong with air drying. I think air drying is a lot healthier. But the problem with air drying is that curly hair takes forever to dry. It takes 200 years to dry. I don't like air drying. I prefer diffusing. I think that I get more defined curls from it, and my hair isn't as weighed down from diffusing as what it usually is from being air dried. So diffusing helps. It's a lot quicker. It doesn't make your hair look weighed down, and it's gonna help with frizz. There's nothing wrong with air drying. You can totally air dry if you don't have a diffuser attachment. Plopping really helps. So if you want your hair to dry quicker, you can try plopping. Plopping is really good. It helps with the drying time and it helps a lot with frizz. When I would air dry, I would make the biggest mistake of touching my hair. I would touch my hair far, far too often. While it was drying, I would be scrunching it and I would be flipping it all over, and that caused so much frizz. I would section, I would style. On soaking wet hair, I would do everything, and yet it would always turn out frizzy. But again, back then I would air dry and I would make the mistake of touching my hair while it was drying. If you are air drying, if you are choosing to air dry your hair instead of using heat, it is a much healthier option. But if you are choosing to air dry, do not touch your hair while it is drying, okay? It's gonna cause frizz. and it's going to interfere with the gel cast that you are making in your hair. That is the hardness that you get from the gel. That is a gel cast. And if you are touching your hair way too much while it is drying, you are interfering with that, and it's going to get frizzy. So if you are air drying, try not touch your hair. Try not sway it around, move it around. Just pretend that it's not there. Okay, just pretend that you have no hair and that you're allergic to it and you can't touch it. So try not touch it, try not move around too much until it's completely dry. And then you can go crazy and move it around as much as you want. Number 12, if you do not like gel that leaves a hard, crunchy feeling, products with hold leave a hardness on your hair. It leaves a crunchy cast. That is that hardness that your hair gets from styling products. So if you are getting that hardness from the gel and you just decide to abandon gel because you get that hardness. So many people don't like using gel because they get that hard, crunchy feeling. So if you are getting that, there is a very, very simple solution to it. A cast is actually a very, very good thing because it is a sign that your styling is working, and it's a sign that your hair is gonna last. Okay, so the hardness is actually a very good thing because it's gonna keep your hair in that place and it's gonna last way longer. So if you don't like that hardness, you can just take it out with a serum, with an oil. So many people do not use gels because of that hardness, but it is such an easy thing to fix. Okay, all you need is a serum, an oil, and you can just take it out with the serum. You can scrunch the serum in and then the hardness goes away. Okay, don't give up gel because it goes all hard. So many people hate that, but it's such an easy thing to fix. So don't give up on gel yet just because it gives you that hardness. The hardness is actually very, very good. But if you don't like that, you can just use a lighter hold gel. You get gels that don't leave that hardness, or you can use a serum to get rid of the hardness. Number 13, this has got to do with your serum and your gel cast. I would always apply far too much serum onto my hair, and then that would get rid of the hardness. It would get rid of the gel cast, and my hair would turn out frizzy. Okay, sometimes you take too much of the cast out and that causes your hair to be frizzy. So if you are doing everything, if you are doing all the right things, you are applying the serum, you're doing everything and your hair is still frizzy, that is probably because you are applying too much serum and you're actually taking out the cast. I would always apply far too much serum onto my roots, and so my roots would always be frizzy. Avoid your roots. Please avoid putting serum onto your roots because it will be frizzy. Okay, go from here down. Okay, there's nothing wrong with putting serum onto your curls, but try not put too much because then it's going to be day 2 and your hair is going to have no cast and it's just going to be frizz. Okay, so sometimes you take too much of that cast out and that causes the frizz. So try avoid your roots and don't put too much on. If you are struggling with preserving your curls, if you don't know how to sleep with them, it's really frustrating when you spend an hour styling your hair, you put all these products, you put all this time and effort into your hair, and then you go to bed, and then in the morning it just looks terrible. It's frizzy, it's lost its definition, and it looks awful. Okay, many people struggle with preserving their curls at night because whenever they go to bed, their hair gets ruined. Okay, it's really good to sleep with a satin bonnet. Okay, if you want your hair to last, if you want it to not be frizzy, and if you want it to look good in the morning, please sleep with something covering your hair. If that is a satin pillowcase, it helps with frizz. Okay, if you don't like things on your head, I would say use a pillowcase, a satin pillowcase, or a bonnet, or a satin scarf, or even if it's just a t-shirt. Okay, please be covering your hair when you are sleeping, because then you're going to wake up in the morning and it's going to look awful. When you are sleeping, if you're sleeping with a regular pillow, your hair is creating friction constantly with the pillow, and that creates frizz because your hair is rubbing against the pillow. Especially if your hair is curly, it will get frizzy. It will get frizzy if you are lying on a regular pillow. Okay, you need to be sleeping with something protecting your hair if you want your hair to last. Okay, if you want your hair to last, you need to be sleeping with something protecting your hair. If that is a satin bonnet, if that's a scarf, a satin scarf, or if it's a t-shirt, or if it's a satin pillowcase. If you don't have a satin bonnet or a satin anything, you can use a t-shirt. Okay, just use something. You do not need 200 things to start your curly hair journey. Okay, you just need to start. So if it's using a t-shirt, t-shirts work really well, actually. I do recommend getting a bonnet though, but if you are just starting or you do not have one yet, you can use a t-shirt to cover your hair to at least get some protection. It's really important that you are covering your hair at night when you are sleeping. Do not sleep with it loose. Okay, you want to tie it up in a loose bun or ponytail. It's really important that you are not adding tension to your hair, because that also ruins your hair at night. So when you are wanting to tie your hair up to sleep with it, tie your hair up in a very loose bun at the top of your head. People like to call it the pineapple. So it's just the pineapple on your head in a very loose hairstyle. You can tie it up in a ponytail above your head or a bun, and then you can just cover your hair with a shirt, a bonnet, or your pillowcase, and you can just go to bed. And then you can put some serum on it in the morning if it has frizz. But you want to be sleeping with a covering so your hair can last. Everybody's hair is different. Everybody's hair needs different things. Everybody's hair has a certain level of porosity, okay, how it absorbs moisture. You get thin hair, thick hair, you get waves, you get curls. Everybody's hair is different, okay? So not everybody's routine will work for you, but you do not need to overcomplicate it. All you need is 2 products, okay? Hydration and hold. So get a product for hydration and hold. If that's a spray and a gel, or a cream and a gel, or a spray and a foam, or a spray and a mousse. Just use 2 products, okay? Even if it's 1 product, if it's just a cream, okay? Even if it's just a leave-in conditioner, you do not need a lot to start. I know it's very overwhelming and it gets very complicated when you see all these people online using all these different things and you're just starting out and you have no idea what's going on. It is very easy to get very overwhelmed, and then you buy these products, they're expensive, they don't work, and you just give up. But please do not give up. Even if it's just 1 product, that's all you need. Even if it's wearing your hair curly, even if you don't use product, even if it's just letting your hair air dry instead of blow drying it or straightening it. Just start somewhere. Okay, you only need to just start. Okay, using product in your hair does help. If your hair is crazy, if it's frizzy, you need to be giving your hair hydration. Okay, even if you're just using a cream to start. Okay, you don't need a gel if you're just starting. If you're a beginner, just start off with a cream. Or if you don't want to get a cream, you can use a gel. But just start somewhere. Okay? Give your hair the hydration that it needs, because that will help revive your hair a bit. It will help a little bit with frizz. And it's going to at least give your curls a bit of what it needs. Okay, you need to be hydrating your hair. So just start. Even if you don't use products in the beginning, just start wearing it the way that it naturally is. Even if it's crazy, even if it's frizzy, even if it looks like a bird's nest, just start wearing it the way that it is. Can't help with frizz. Frizz, you can't run from it. It's like you wanting water to not be wet. Okay, water is wet. There's nothing you can do about it. Curls are frizzy. That's just its nature. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's gonna be frizzy. But you can do things that are gonna help that. You can use products that are gonna tame it. So like I said, using a cream, a spray, or a gel. Using products like that are gonna help with the frizz, okay? It's gonna help it look more presentable. But if you are just starting, just wear it down, wear it curly. If it's frizzy, if it's dry, just wear it down. Just wear it down. Stop with the heat, stop with the straightening, stop with the blow drying. Let it air dry. And I want you to see how it does on its own. Because I can tell you now that when you let your hair just do its natural thing, it will start showing you how curly it can actually be. Okay, let it revive itself. You don't need a lot to start. The biggest mistake that I made was buying all these products, not knowing how to use them, and then giving up because I thought it wasn't worth it and it was too much money and it just wasn't working for me. But that is the biggest mistake that you can honestly make. Just start. You are not alone. Everybody goes through it. I've gone through it. Every curly person that you see on TikTok, that you see online, they have gone through it. They have gone through it too. You are not alone. You are not the only one. So don't think that you're somehow doing the wrong thing, because you're not. You're just learning. Curly hair isn't as complicated as it seems, okay? You just need to get the basics under control. I know in the beginning it is very crazy and it is very hard, but it is not as complicated as it seems. So you got this, and you are not as alone as you feel. We all go through the exact same thing, okay? If that's the damage, if that's the insecurities, if that's the frizz, the dryness, the growing up with it, if that's feeling that it needs to be neat and it needs to be tamed, and it just goes against everything that we're taught. We all go through the same thing. Okay, just start. Just start. Those are all the tips that I have. If you want help, if you need help, the comments are there. I too had those struggles. I too am going through what you're going through. So you are not alone. And I hope that this video at least gives you some guidance and at least some direction to where you need to go. But you don't need a lot. Okay? I'm going to repeat this and repeat this until you understand it. You do not need a lot. You do not need a lot. I will be doing more videos like this, but that is it for this video. I hope that it gives you some reassurance or eases the anxiety, but it's not that complicated. It really, really isn't. You will eventually learn how to tame it and control it, but it really isn't that big of a deal as you think it is. Your hair is fine. It is beautiful the way that it is. Okay? And I hope that you get to a point where you will love your hair fully and you will accept it fully, and you will finally be able to go outside and wear it the way that it is, because it is beautiful, okay? Even if you don't believe it. I can't wait for you to get to that point where you will finally just love it and fully give it the love that it deserves. That is it, and I hope this helps.